5, 4, 3, 2, 1, letting the tech hook up. All right, I want to talk about client acquisition here and how we work with clients. And out of the gates, I'm making this very clear. And so we work with, Vistage chairs, executive coaches, law firms, middle market businesses, other professionals to help them grow and nurture their business. If you follow me, you know this, and you can check out all my stuff around, my profiles. But here's what I want to get into is what we're responsible for, and then what we expect from the people we're working with, because we can't do everything. No firm can. And there's accountability both ways. And oftentimes when our relationships, don't work out longer term with clients, I'd say most of the time it's because they're not doing their part. And doesn't mean that, we need to fix things over time and, so forth. And, but we're on top of that, but it's because the client's not stepping up. And so let me go through this. So we do everything. We do the selling, the marketing. We've got the pipeline operating system, AI-based, all of that. So we're build and nurture in a box. Think of it that way. And partnering with all those clients I mentioned before. So we are doing and responsible for and measured on top of the funnel activities, which, as you know, looking at here, you've all seen this funnel before, which includes awareness. So when you're building a business, you need to get CEOs in your Vistage group or your executive coach or whatever. You have to create awareness. You got to be visible out there, and you can't just be selling nonstop. Awareness is about your content being out there, being the squeaky wheel that gets the grease, visibility. And so we do a lot of that with clients, with original content, not sharing other people's content, monthly LinkedIn live events, live webinars, and content that's pushed out, blogs and all this stuff. So awareness is key, because if you're just selling all the time and people have zero knowability of you, like you're never offering them anything of value, you're just selling to them, that is not a best practice. So you've got to do awareness at a very high level and be a teacher, guiding, helping. Then you get to generating interest. If you're doing awareness the right way, then people start getting interested in you. Over time, this is the marketing, the long game, but over time, people start to see you. You're interesting. You're doing interesting things. And all of a sudden, there is a knowability of you, and you're developing a relationship with a bigger and bigger audience as you're connecting with more and more people and all this stuff. So you become interesting versus everybody else who's not doing this. When you do those two things well, then you get engagement. And this is, again, top of the funnel. We're doing all this, but you get engagement, meaning people are showing up in your inbox if you're running LinkedIn campaigns. If you've got emails going out, people are opening, clicking. That's intent data. Opening, clicking, replying. That's the pot of gold. If you get replies to email campaigns, events, if you're doing LinkedIn live events or live webinars or live events, which we do all those, obviously it's people attending those events. That's engagement, right? And that's the holy grail there too. If you're getting people showing up to those events. So we do that. We're measured on that. There is no mystery for us on how we're doing. We have all the metrics. We measure everything. It's not perfect all the time. I mean, these campaigns and outreach are living, breathing organisms, but we do that. And where we make it very efficient for clients is with the CRM we give everybody, the AI pipeline operating system for multi-touch outreach. We're next level and all that stuff. So you got to have that and the infrastructure to do all that right. And so top of the funnel, that stuff's going out. And then this is where the clients need to step in. And this is where it comes to conversion. And this is where we see a fall off. What the easiest thing to do when all of us are doing outreach campaigns is to sit back and wait for someone to drop into our inbox to a message that's a lead, and then handle that lead. Just sit there and wait for that. That is not how this works. And so if you do that with any campaign, with anybody, anywhere, that is not how it works. And so the conversion has got to be multifaceted. First of all, is certainly people coming into your inbox from campaigns. You're going to get that. You, me, all of us are going to get that. But think about this. When you're reaching out to, for instance, CEOs, C-suite executives, other busy professionals, they're getting inundated and there's a lot of competition. And so they're very hard to get a hold of. And when you have one of those leads respond to you, you have won a battle within the war, and it is not over. You've got to use every tool in the book to now convert that person. So there's the people in your inbox, and I have these discussions a lot with clients that get leads. They have leads, but they're not converting to phone calls. And there's an art and a science into getting somebody on a phone call when a human being replies to you and, hey, I'm interested in meeting. And I'm not going to go into all the details now, but is not to be taken lightly. You can send a video message on LinkedIn. You can send an audio message on LinkedIn. And then if they reply on LinkedIn, you want to make sure you hit them with email, even a text message. So there's a science to getting somebody on a call. If you're not doing it, then you're not giving yourself the best opportunity to convert somebody. So that whole process of converting to a call is a big frigging deal, because if you don't get them on a call, you're not going to get an at bat. They're not going to get in your pipeline. People get ghosted and so forth. So for instance, somebody replies on LinkedIn, I'm interested. Don't just type a message back. Oh, great. Hey, here's my calendar link. Done. Good night, Irene. That's what everybody does. That person may have left LinkedIn by the time you get to them, or miss your message because the LinkedIn inbox is crazy over there. And so that's not the way to do it. And so my point is, you've got to really, if you're being serious, take the time to just even convert somebody to a phone call. So that's part of it. Now, I'll say this too, that when you're reaching out to leads, and like for us, we're gathering, contact information, there's intent data that is very useful, and it's a big deal. The last 3 AI conferences I've been at, everybody's talking about intent data. Hey, are people clicking on emails? Are they opening? Are they showing up? Are they engaging? That is information that is actionable by the client. And so we have all those metrics and go into our CRM, for example, and we're sending out emails, blogs and touch points and whatever. We see the clicks and who's clicking, who is opening. Now, they haven't scheduled a meeting. If we have calendar links in there, maybe they haven't replied. Okay, that's the holy grail. Remember, you're reaching out to get a reply, but things are happening in between that, the intent data. So again, if you're grinding and building and willing to get dirty, what you then do is you take this intent data. Hey, this person is clicking on stuff. They're interested in what I'm doing. Block out time during the week. Make 10 calls a week, 20 calls a week. This is what I preach all the time. It's what I do, is block off time. But this is not cold calling. This is not $500 a day, which no one likes to do, and you burn out. This is strategic warm calling based on intent data, while others are coming into your inbox and you have that going on. Don't wait around for that. Don't wait around. So very important, very important. And we see all that. If somebody attends a LinkedIn live event, if you get 2 or 3 people or 4 or 5 or 10 or 20, you're doing those events, who are they? Reach out. That's intent data. That's engagement, right? They're engaging with you. So you get the point here. I don't want to, drill this away, but you've got to act on these things, not wait for leads to come out of the water and jump in the boat. And so it's good. And I got to say, we have an incredible infrastructure with our system. It's next level. I mean, second to none, with our AI and the developers we have on the team, all of that. that doesn't guarantee people dropping into your inbox. It is what you need and got to have it. But you got to do your part. When I say to clients. So our part, again, is we're curating and enriching lead lists. So we're measured on, is the lead list good? Are they qualified leads? We have tools to make sure they're qualified, getting better all the time with our AI enrichment tools. We have the pipeline operating system, right? So I mentioned that. So, what system are you using? Is it multi-touch? Do you have calling agents? Do you have email? Are you using SMS strategically with touch points? So, how are you doing it? Do you have that going on? Do you have the workflows, for workflows that help you book somebody that is interested? We have that multi-touch workflows just to book a warm lead. Do you have workflows, go-to-market workflows for cold leads? So the workflows are important. And then, I mentioned engagement, the visibility I mentioned, and then the convert is on, the client side. Now we're helping with conversion because we have, booking workflows and all of that. But, that comes into play a lot of times with warm leads where you don't want to go back and forth and get ghosted when somebody is interested. We have workflows for that. But you get my point here. On the cold outreach, it just is not a sit and wait mentality. It is getting dirty and making some calls and following up and so forth. And it just is that everyone needs to do this. And I say this too. These are the stats in marketing and so forth. If you are working at a firm that is generating leads for you, right? So you got a bigger firm or whatever, law firm's got, SEO going on, whatever, and the firm's generating leads and passing them to you. That's great. A lot of people are in that environment. You still are spending time on business development and calling. And maybe it's, 10 or 15% of your time every week on business development activities when you're being fed leads. If you're not being fed leads, you're a Vistage chair, you're an executive coach, you're, whatever the case is, professional, then your business development spikes massively, especially if you're growing, and you're spending easily 55% of your time every week on business development. Doesn't matter if you hire somebody to do the outreach for you, you got to spend that amount of time, so it's just the way it is. And think about what you're doing. If you're not spending that amount of time, let's say it's 40%, if you're on your own there, how much time are you spending on business development? Calls every week to these A-listers who need to hear from you as your multi-touch outreach is going. How much of your time are you spending? If you say, God, none, it's a problem, so think about that. Think about it. It's just the way it is. You got to multitask, and it's not easy, but the reward is massive. So I just wanted to get this across. And when it comes together, when we're working with folks, it is awesome. Accountability on both sides as business partners, and this is how it works. I'll say this down below. Get my VIP blog, text Giant Help to that number. And every Friday, I have the tools, tips, strategies. I'm just trying to help as much as I can, everybody out there, with what I see, what's working, not working, what clients are telling me, what's working for them and all that. I share all that stuff. And so sign up for that. And then also around wherever you're watching this, you can book with me a strategy session. And I'll put it up here too, QR code. Take a snap of that. And you can apply to get on a call with me. Always doing strategy sessions. Love to hear about what you're doing. I'll show you what I'm doing. And we are just blazing forward. Very excited with what's going on over here. So, all right, we'll see you next time.